Do you have cool kids?
I've got two girls, 7 and 8.
7 and 8. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Precious
So
time.
that's outside of work, that's my entire life.
Yeah. Yeah, of course. And it's
Doing
just gonna get bigger.
school and yeah, school and all the extracurriculars and
Activities, yes. Uh,
yeah.
yeah. I got a girl and a boy.
Oh yeah?
Hmm.
How where are they at in life?
Well, my daughter got out of the army in 2015 or 14 or something like that. Anyway, but she's working in Tennessee.
Oh, okay.
She has a house and lives in Tennessee,
What city does she live in?
Nashville.
Nashville. Okay. Yeah, I've got some friends out in Nashville. It's a nice place, and
Yeah,
it's a big city. It's big
yeah,
enough.
yeah. It's big enough. You know what's going on?
No, I'm just rolling with the flow. Wherever my
Me
name
too.
pops up, I just show up, and
Yeah,
that's what I do.
me too. I didn't know you were coming on, but I'm glad you are. That tells me something. It's I mean, it's like you and I are doing the same thing, half
I,
and half,
yeah, I
I don't
think so. Uh, I've been working with Danielle for the past, week or two, just kind of getting
really.
the lay of the land and seeing what else going on. And
Right. It seems to me you and I should be working together in some form.
yeah, I think so. And that's what we're kind of doing across the board, is just kind of seeing who's doing what, where, and what we
Yeah,
can
what we
work
should
on
be doing,
together.
what we could
Yeah.
be doing. Like I mean it's a big picture thing, but somebody's got to say, okay, do it. But we have to also know what our budget is.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. I don't know what's on your list of things you're working on.
Yeah, I'm up until a few weeks ago, I had a pretty like solid, list and workflow, but it's kind of opened up, a little bit, just to be all over the place. So it's I'm all over the place right now.
Uh-huh. Well, I was working with Bill.
Hmm. Have you been in contact with Bill
Bill's sick.
lately?
Bill's sick.
Yeah.
So not much. Have you?
No, I haven't.
I called him back a few times and in the last couple of weeks, and he didn't answer for 2 weeks. Didn't no answer. And I reached out to Randy and whatnot to find out what's going on. And he said, "Well, he's sick." I knew he was sick. He just
Yeah.
didn't want to imagine himself sick. He was just barreling through anyway, and but he was too sick to really do anything. So he reached out to us about a post we put up, um, that he thought we had the social media wrong. I looked into it and he was right.
Mm,
But so he's looking. I don't think he can do much more. But I appreciated that input he had.
yeah. Oh, so what are you guys doing? Y'all are doing social media and
Social media like crazy because there's a lot going on.
oh
Um,
yeah.
and you too, you
Oh
chasing
yeah.
chasing projects, seeing what's going on where, right?
Oh yeah.
And then we send out e-blast every week now, and we talk about the core competencies, and that's pushed ahead along with by Michael, who really believes in all that.
Yeah, he does, for sure. I've really only spoke to him that once when we all got together, but I definitely got that
Yeah,
vibe from him.
yeah, yeah. So I'm waiting to hear back from him about the e-blast that needs to go out tomorrow. Yeah, that's it. And we also do for diversify. We do RD Weiss and diversify. And really, there are more companies that need to be showing up. Like are you not doing anything? You're all over the place. And what are you doing? What do you got to say for yourself?
Yeah, I don't think a lot of them have the resources that have been, put into marketing efforts. So I think, the
That's our
mark
job.
yeah, we definitely need there needs to be like a marketing services to help those guys along.
Yeah. Mhm. Do you have the mandate to do that?
Um, it's getting there. You know, I think, I think soon, uh, but we'll see. It's all still, very new and still developing, you know. So, but that's the idea, is to, get the marketing services set up for everybody so that they can,
Right,
they get the core message, from up top, but they can also have their, whatever they want to do as well. We definitely want to support that because it's a lot of different locations and a lot of gaps in between, a lot of, different targeting and different
right,
messages.
right, right.
So we got to take inventory before we like, start making any moves, I guess. Have you
Hmm.
heard from Danielle? She's the one who invited me to this call, or maybe you did. I'm not sure, but
I know I invited
um,
her, and she just forwarded it to you, which
okay.
I'm glad. It's like I want to get this thing going, I want to do the right thing. It's kind of with Bill cutting out. She's coming in, but I think she's too busy. But we'll see. She's busy now, obviously. She had 11 o'clock
Yeah,
appointment, and
yeah. She's got a lot on her hands.
yeah. So I'd like to take that off. I just need the approval to go forward and find out where I can get my information. Well, you know what? We I haven't been able to get out of the salespeople and RD Weiss. There she comes. And I have this idea that we go right to the production managers and the installers and whatnot. Hi.
Hi, I am so sorry. So
Oh,
first
it's
I
okay.
ran over with Jay and then I'm sitting in the meeting. I'm like, where is everybody? I clicked the join and that took me into Teams and not here where
Oh,
you
I see. Yeah,
are. So
I use
I
I
gave it like
use
a minute. I'm
Zoom.
like, this is too weird. It's way too late. Where is everybody? But then I'm here now. Well, anyway,
Good.
I apologize once more, but thank you,
Well,
Kat, for setting this up. I'm sure
sure.
you jumped in here with Aaron.
Yeah,
Aaron,
we needed to talk anyway.
okay,
Yeah, we're
wonderful.
just getting to know each other, having small talk.
Yeah,
Wonderful. Fantastic.
dealing with
Well,
kids.
Yep.
I'm sure you are too, Danielle.
yeah, and mine are at school, but today I've had my dog has decided to rebel. So she's usually very chill, very good. And
Uh-huh.
like I think she just knows I have no time for her. And she's making herself known. She's
Yeah.
eating dolls and doing some other things that she shouldn't be doing. But
That's hilarious. Mine already are asleep here. I fed them.
Oh,
Now they're asleep around me.
nice.
So no, I don't have to worry about that. She must be a young thing.
She's 1 year. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Oh boy.
Great, great. Well, Kat, I thought it would be good just to give you a little bit. I know Randy, you and Randy have talked that we were going to have some changes in the organization.
Yes.
Maybe just start there and
Yes.
give you some
Yes.
line of sight to what's happening. Great. So we've announced to our leadership, and later today we'll be announcing to the broader organization some upcoming organizational changes that officially take effect on the 1st of September. And with that new structure, Jim Pells, our COO, will have responsibility for six executive vice presidents that will each have a portion of the P&L. So that will include Randy, who will have the union businesses for the Midwest and Northeast areas. We will have myself. I will have the non-union in the same areas. And I will also have the national businesses. So that would include CTS, SPS, Epoxy SI, and high performance flooring. Those are all under the leadership of Laura Del Brugge. So that's my span of control there. And we'll get to marketing in a minute. And then the Southeast will be Bruce McWhorter. So he will continue on with Spectra and he will take responsibility for flooring solutions and Kenny floors. We will have Charlie Robertson, who will maintain his role as the EVP of vendor relations and continue operating with the Spectra Southwest region. And that's inclusive of Denver and then the Texas markets. On the West Coast, we will have Steve Landreth will report to Josh Slater for the Pro Spectra union businesses on the West, and Chuck Stanford will remain in having responsibility for the non-union on the West. So all of those individuals I cited will report to Jim directly. And then as we build out the corporate services, or depending on the shared services, however we want to define it, we will have our finance team, which will have regional responsibilities. We will have our HR business partners that will have the same under Hutch Smith, who will also be reporting to Jay. So Jay, Jim, Don Weinstein, and Andy Clevhorn will report directly to Jay. So the C-suite there. And then marketing, best for last, will be led, at this point, it's a bit sensitive, and I want to declare that because we're very considerate of the situation with Bill. So in a turn of events, if Bill were to have a rebound on his health, he would come right back in. We really respect and appreciate Bill for all he does, but we're also in the same light very considerate of his current state. So at this time, we have not been communicating with Bill on business issues. We really want to leave him to do all he can do to focus on himself, his family,
Right.
and his health, while things are going. So I don't want you to think that we're just not including Bill, but for the purposes of our
I get it.
Yeah,
I get it. I've been tight with Bill for a while now, and I've been following his illness. He's not getting better. It's getting worse.
And that's what's expected. And so there's the psychological piece too. We don't want Bill to feel as if we're abandoning him with our strategy going forward.
He reached out to me yesterday.
Yeah.
Because he saw something we didn't do right.
Which doesn't surprise me. And so he's dabbling in a little bit here and there.
Yeah.
Would take any insight from him at any point in time. But for the purposes of organizational structure, Aaron will lead marketing. Aaron will report to me going forward. And we will have, under Aaron, we have one person right now who is our content manager and working heavily on the digital side with Aaron's support. And then we'll be hiring another person, which, by the way, we likely would have hired in any context, but this person will be focused on a lot of the marketing communications, whether it's the collateral development, the PR, things of that nature. So that will be another individual who will be posting for shortly that will report to Aaron. And then further, we've engaged a person who will be kind of dotted lining into Aaron regarding the diversify corporate branding, so that we can have that brand position, brand marketing, to all of our stakeholders, our shareholders, of course, and whether it's Acon, our banks, our customers, we're most important, to make sure we're refined in what that value proposition is that we're presenting nationally to the businesses. So that's where we are today. So I would say in the current state of affairs, with all of the things that we need to do as an organization, I'm really looking at them two different ways. We have the diversify corporate. So that's going to be Aaron and team that are going to support the broader enterprise. And then we have within each of the businesses, the efforts that take place. So the things that you do with RD Weiss, the things that, I don't know the name of the agency, but I know that Kiefer is engaged with someone for the efforts through the Kiefer business. So, there's no intention right now to say to our local brands or individual brands that they can't do, won't do. We want them to do. We want them to have their own position in their markets and own that marketing activity that results from that.
There are a lot of them that don't have anything.
There certainly are. And in those cases, and I would say in all cases, we will have a better framework that they can work from. Call it the templates, having the line of sight to the things that we're doing at a corporate level, the investments we're making that we can then amplify into the local markets to gain traction on ROI. And it is all about, of course, our brand and our position is important, but we're very ROI revenue driven. That's our ultimate goal, is that our actions and activities are going to drive revenue. The third bucket that I didn't talk about that will be dotted lined into Erin is going to be our sales enablement activity. So this is really investments that we're making between a program called Construct Connect, which will tie into our inside sales team, which will be a team of one here shortly. Our trade events that have specific market outputs that we expect from them, and then other activity around sales enablement that we will be focused on heavily as time goes forward. And that's going to help us. I'll give a for instance a future state. So I was just on with Jay, and we're talking about a company that operates nationally, Sodexo. I'm sure you've heard of Sodexo. So we have, through some of our ACOM partners and other relationships, we have a way to get an audience with the executive level individuals at large organizations that could become customers of ours. So this one, for instance, this is an example of, we want to get in there. We want to have a corporate contract with them. We want to have that license to hunt is probably the best way to refer to it. And then we need to market that through our sales enablement activities to our local locations so that they can gain the benefits and drive the revenue and profit for their individual businesses as a result. So that's an example of how things we're going to be doing more of that we traditionally have not done at all. So we're pivoting here as we're defining our new enterprise, both structurally as well as the focus that we have. We'll be putting the tools and the investments behind that to maximize the ROI.
Okay.
So that was a lot of current state. I thought it would be a good share though, and I'll pause. Please feel free to ask any questions. Erin, if I left anything critical out, please add to what I just shared.
Well, I'll say that was pretty impressive and all-encompassing to come right off the top of your head like that. I'm impressed. That's a lot of data coming out.
A lot going on.
Oh yeah.
So, Kat, do you have any questions about the current the structure?
I understand. Yeah, I understand what you're doing. You got it all wrapped up, and it sounds like you have all your bases covered. So I guess I will just continue to take care of RD Weiss, or will that eventually be shifted over to the Diversify group?
Yes, there's no plan for your engagement with RD Weiss to change. The one thing that we are looking to align is our web hosting, which I don't believe would impact you directly. If maybe it does, if you could just, those are things we're inventorying right now, a lot of things. So our domains, our web hosting sites, the different, if we have any extensions, if we're partnered with any agencies or consultants, like just getting a lay of the land, because everybody's been operating in different ways for a very long time. And that's not a bad thing. It's just, what are we doing? And are there things that we should then leverage for the larger enterprise, or are there things that should maintain in the capacity that they are? The one ask that I would have would be in the same light with what you do. You gave us a debrief when we were in New York last, but if there would be, I don't know, a capabilities presentation or something that if you have it that could just show like all the things that you do or can do.
Everything.
And then maybe to that
35
point,
years, everything.
Right. And then maybe to that point, what you do today with RD Weiss. And I know you've shown the pie charts, but even maybe a level deeper, like what does that mean? What kind of content are you developing? Have you developed? What's a normal cycle look like with your participation with RD Weiss?
I'm working on just a few things, but basically everybody's waiting to see what the hell's going on. Nothing's really happening. Like those websites we developed are just on hold in our corral that we take care of. I mean, I don't know what exactly, if I knew what the big plan was, and I know you're talking strategy and process, but in terms of the creative, have you really thought about what you're doing, or do you have a plan of who's creating things?
So to go back to one of the things I mentioned, we are working on what our strategy, what is our brand strategy? So what is our value proposition messaging? And then from there, of course, the creative and the collateral would support that. Yeah. But we're in that definition, because depending on who you ask, that answer might be different, even across our executive team. So there's an alignment period. We all know where we've got national reach. We all know that we have financial backing that sets us apart from a bonding capability standpoint. But what else? What really is going to resonate with the end user clients that we're targeting to have those national relationships with? What is going to differentiate us from a local competitor in a market beyond just the financial gain? Because the geographical reach really isn't pertinent at that point in time. So I think that's the kind of the deeper dive that we're doing, and then really refining that messaging and then aligning it to our overall vision and strategy. The collateral content will come from that. But and that's enterprise level. The local levels, we've not gone to that extent, with the exception of Spectra, who Aaron's been engaged with for many years. But I would say brand partners and Diversify Plus, the answer would be no.
So of course, I was always looking at it from the RD Weiss level. I built it for 30 plus years in terms of gathering as many of their customers and their prospects so that I could target them and develop, different things about who's taking care, who is in healthcare, who is in corporate, and send to them messages on a weekly basis. Now, some of them are doing very, very much the same, but when you talk about schools right now, we're talking about disinfecting schools before people get in. Even if they're starting to get in, there needs to be a way to help people to clean their microbly, clean their schools. And so, at least in the Northeast, this is what we're trying to message, that we can do this and have been doing this. Anyway, so on an ongoing basis, we're just working on our core competencies and make sure that everybody knows them and can see them in various visuals, in terms of how we approach it, whether it be schools or the offices, or retail.
And that site that you shared, does that house the content for all the content that you're referencing?
The site, which site are you talking about?
You had sent a link to,
I think that was Pavilion. I think it looked like a development site for the Pavilion.
Oh yeah, we have.
If I saw the right site.
I put them on our server, our staging server, Pavilion, Epoxy, and PCS, SPC. I don't know what it's with Laura's the website. She had CTS. She had a site before and it was very minimal. Then she had the brochures. So we pulled out, because she didn't have time to talk. We pulled out from her brochure that she created and then pushed out the website. It still has a lot of, things that it could be filled with, ideas there that need to be discussed with her. But it made it more than what it was. You have those links I sent you?
I do. So generally, where are we storing the content? Is that something that RD Weiss, is there a shared server? Is there
the content?
Yes.
Okay, are you talking about RD Weiss's content?
RD Weiss. So you just said about the like the visuals for the core competencies. Like, where does that live?
Where does that live? The core competency? Well, I guess we house it. I mean, because it's a big vault that we have of stuff that we use and reuse at times, just to keep track of stuff, the information. Everything we create, we store it, of course, on our server.
So you have it on your server. I didn't know if that's my question. Is there a shared server or a cloud-based?
There's a Dropbox.
There's a Dropbox. Okay, that's great.
That's what I had sent you, a Dropbox with things that they have been using and wanted to keep it in the Dropbox. So Randy didn't want to spend money so that it was any more than just his personal Dropbox, and so they can all access it.
Okay, I gotcha. That makes sense to me. I'm just seeing if and then it's Randy's personal Dropbox.
Well, it's RD Weiss at rdweiss.com at the Dropbox NPR, And then the password is network. He made it network design. It was easy. Lowercase.
There we go. Yeah. That's
Yeah. Sometimes they get in there and make a mess. We have to go in there and clean it up. And make sure that we have everything organized so they can find things. You can also search, use the search bar to find specific information. But when we develop things, we put it in there.
so you said there's a few things going on. Like you mentioned websites. So I did, Joe sent me a link about a website that Joe Piscatello with the Pavilion team.
That's who
So
I've been working with.
Are there active website development projects underway then?
Other than those three, no, I was told there would be more, but it all kind of stopped because of misinformation, unknown information, nobody knew what was going on. So it kind of stopped. And also the owners of those sites, Pavilion, Joe, Laura, and who's that for the other one? I forget. They just were, after the sales meeting, they were a little concerned about everything. They didn't know where anything was going. They didn't know who was where the website was going to be hosted. Right now it's sitting on my server. But we were trying to deal with the fact that American Eagle was not the place for them. You can't go into the site now. I guess Bill would be able to put a trouble ticket in and put what he wanted on a page. And then maybe a couple weeks later, they'd put it up. That's not, we work so that we'll do it the same day and, do what we have to do in terms of marketing and make it all work together. The website, the social media, the email marketing, all kind of works together and it's supported. Randy's site is an example of that.
Okay, great.
And how we use Randy's messaging.
So those are on hold. Is there an active
On
scope
hold.
of? I'm assuming, I don't know. I have to ask Randy a few questions after this because we're filling in a lot of blanks right now.
Yeah, there are a lot of blanks. Good.
That's what's happening.
Good for you.
Which is not a bad thing. It's just
It is.
that's
It just
okay.
is. Okay.
Yeah, that's okay. What was it? Oh, do you have like an active scope that you're managing through whatever contract or deliverables that are aligned with the RD Weiss team?
No, what has always happened is I saw where they needed to go based on conversations with Randy and his sales team. I saw what they needed, or they'd ask me for things based on their situation. So I would respond by working accordingly. There is no calendar or anything like that because as far as I know, the trade shows have stopped. They're not doing anything except knocking on doors.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so they provide requests to you, like, what do you normally get from them?
Well, now I'm working with Michael. This has been new since he's taken over. He'll tell me about a project that happened. I'll go and shoot it myself and create some copy with my team and build the story, put it on their blog. Put it on their blog, which is on their website. You can see it right there, and everything comes from the blog. So we create these stories and then use social media to tell the story a little bit here and there and send them to the website. And then maybe do a story on an email blast. And when it kind of works, because I like to move things around. So it's not the same thing every week, but here's a story about this building, 87 Union. It's awesome. And there'll be more like that coming up. That's what I do. I also call the sales people to tell me what's going on. And they'll, tell me, oh, this something like this and that is coming up. We'll even talk about the newspaper that's talked about the money put in for that project and that RD Weiss has got that project in Buffalo, thanks to Jillian, salesperson of the year. Anyway, so that's what I do. I have to call these guys up. Now, what it's come down to is they don't want to go and shoot their jobs. They don't, they sell the job, they make sure it's in the works, and then they go on to the next guy. They don't want to go back and take any pictures during the whole thing. So what I recommended to Michael is that we ask the project, and I was just talking to Aaron about this, the product managers or the installers of various types, talk to them about the projects they do work on for Artie Weiss, and that if they take pictures of the project ongoing, that could be very lucrative for them. In that we would pay them $20 for every group of pictures they take based on what they're doing, installing, laying down, things, or doing tile and grout, that kind of thing. And so if they were to take pictures, everybody's got cameras, and send them to me, then we would give them a $20 Amazon gift card, just an example. What I want to do is keep that flow coming from those people, the installers and the maintenance people, all those kind of people that get hired through Artie Weiss. They're not on staff necessarily. They are hired exteriorly, and so do something like that to reward them, because why should they send me pictures? Why should they tell me what it is? What's on the floor? What is that? And create the story based on the people that are doing it. And then I'll get in filling holes with the salespeople. They'll tell me things, maybe the actual product that is being put down, and any story about it, anything that was hard or was interesting or was different, like that, and get pictures of that, and we tell those stories. And I want to go out there and keep doing that. We've been doing it for years, but I'm having harder time getting that information from the salespeople. So.
Well, I think if you look at the website and the projects that you've highlighted over the years, they certainly have an extensive portfolio that is huge value. I'd love to see this with all of the businesses. But okay, well, that's very helpful.
Yeah. A salesperson can send a link. Hey, this is what we did. This story from the blog. Send it to somebody and they get a view of what Artie Weiss did.
Well, I guess one ask I have is if you wouldn't mind, put together it doesn't have to be pretty, just kind of for Aaron and I, a little summary of like what is active, even if it's on hold, like the projects, like anything that you consider like active, things that you would expect to happen. And then maybe, as a part 2, things that you would like to see happen. You're very close to the business. I'm sure with your eye, you know where we should be putting more time that maybe we just haven't really focused on. I love those insights and specific for your business. Like, where would you see, what could you bring to Artie Weiss going forward, in addition to what you already do today? And then if there are areas you're like, hey, this is my strength, I could do this for Diversify. If you could highlight those as well, that would be really helpful. Great.
Our strengths are combining everything together. Like I say, the story, we get a story as if we were journalists. And we put it everywhere. We put it in our blog on the website. So it brings SEO to it, because we're talking about all kinds of things. And then you talk about it on social media, on various platforms. And if you be able to craft some video of it, put it on YouTube and use that again, which just generates more eyes coming to it. And then are really what we do well is websites. Developing them based on the client that needs a website. They may not know what to do or how to get started. We're really good at that. Been dealing with entrepreneurs from the beginning and since the early 90s in website development. And I got a team behind me. It's not just me.
Sure. And that's,
if you want sometime.
That'd be great. And I would say that's where I would clearly say, Aaron, that's you. I'm not going to be your SME with subject matter expert with the digital web, but luckily Aaron can talk the talk with you. I'll listen because I love to learn. But
Sure.
I would say
Yeah.
you have
Yeah.
a good partner here.
Good.
Yeah, definitely. I think you've hit a lot of the strides I wanted to hit, Danielle. But I just want to make sure that our collateral and digital marketing strategies are aligned, and make sure we're not you know there's not too much overlap. And I'd like I want to further understand the expertise that you guys bring, and a little bit more about your teams, to kind of speak to where you guys are strongest, so we're making the best use of everybody. Um,
What
and
is your
so,
impression?
well, I mean, I haven't audited or anything like that, so I haven't taken a super close look. You know, one of the things that we're toying around with is a consolidation of websites, so that there aren't so many, and we can have more of a lean funnel, a clearly defined funnel, with all the things that you're talking about, getting them there, and then what happens, and how we're converting them, and how that eventually is, how we can eventually illustrate that into ROI, and marketing contributed revenue, we can call it. Um, you know, so I need to, better, I guess I just need to better understand, where everything's at. I don't know, the process, or, what the funnel looks like on your end. But, I'd like to get a better idea of those things, compare notes. And, I don't know if the answer is to, consolidate websites, and have everybody contribute to there,
Mhm.
or if the idea is to have the corporate website, and maintain brand website presences. I know Kiefer is an example of one that it's clear on what next steps are, or what the overall funnel looks like. I don't think it's a great idea to have a bunch of different funnels, uh, when it's not necessary. So we just gotta, I'm still evaluating what all's out there, and how it all works as a cohesive, strategy. So, that's kind of where my headspace is at,
Well,
with the website and the
we
digital
try
strategy.
to expand by looking at what you guys do, and take some of your stories or projects, and how you talk about them, and bring them over, so to create a wider feeling, so that people can start to realize this company has blossomed all over the country, and this is what's going on. Sometimes we'll reach people that do engage in national reaches, in their corporation. They've grown to the point that they're doing that. Anyway, so at that point, we just try to use it here and there when we're looking for stories, information.
Yeah, no, I gotcha. And I think, part of the benefit on consolidating, um, in line with what you're saying, is that, it would be a little bit more centralized. And I think that it would probably, lend strength, to those, local
Right,
messages.
right, right.
And we wouldn't be posting, we wouldn't be putting content, here and there, and managing all that. And again, all the databases would be, singular. Um,
Well, they have local situations that they need to talk. They're targeting to specific people and local environment. That's how RD Weiss was built. So actually, I was thinking diversify, but maybe it's Spectra. Maybe I was thinking of redoing. This is what I had pitched to Bill: redoing the site so that it houses all anybody else that wants to be on there with their website. But basically talks about everything Diversify is engaged with, or allows people to understand that it is growing and blossoming, and so that we have everything. If anybody's looking, that'll come up. If everybody's looking anywhere, they'll come up. That this company could help you. even in your area, because they have an office there. Through Spectra, probably.
Right.
Anyway,
Yeah,
that's what I
yeah,
was
yeah. Yeah, I gotcha. And I think it's still all still, in a very early stage, so
I've been trying to push this since the beginning of the year. I don't know, maybe that's still early. But I grew impatient. I guess it has to be understood on the top to be able to go down. And that's what I'm kind of waiting for, to hear what the message is from top. Maybe do we know what we're doing? Because then I think then marketing can, if we understand that all that's been thought about and trying to go after how they want to message themselves, then we can work that way. We can take that information and go with it in the areas that we know.
Well, I think the good news is that's what we are focused on, and
Good.
it's call it a week and a half, 2 weeks in effort, because we're newly establishing the organization as it will be going forward, and which we needed that reprieve after all of the acquisitions, kind of let it level out for a few months, and now we're here, and now it's go time, and it's been go time, but now we can do it in a more organized fashion. So that's, I think you're going to see more structure around our marketing strategy, our core messaging. But the one thing I'm sensitive to is we don't want the diversified personality, the enterprise,
Yeah,
to be the personality for the local businesses.
no, they have to have their own. I look at it from Marty White's point of view. If you were to go in and smother them, I
Right.
mean, all that effort they have put out there would diminish.
We're very sensitive to all of the businesses to not have that be an outcome. That's one thing that is known part of our strategy is there's no strategic element where we want to harmonize the brand
Okay.
into
What
one.
would you say? Harmonize the brand? Is that what you said?
Harmonize the local brands. I
Okay.
should be clear on that.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I see.
We want to maintain the
Makes
integrity.
sense to me.
Yeah.
Yeah, it does.
Well, I do have to apologize here. I'm double booked, and I split the time on this last half hour. We have one of our locations moving in another part of the country that we have to fine tune some things on. So if you don't mind, Kat, I'm just going to cut myself short. By all means, you and Erin continue on, but I really do thank you very much for the time. It's great to see you. And next time I'm up at the RD Weiss location, which hopefully will be sooner than later, we'll have to carve out some time. Last week was a bit tight, but we will let's plan for that.
Okay.
Okay.
Let me
Take
know
care.
when you're around. Take care.
Great. Thank you.
Thanks for coming on. All right,
you want
Erin.
to hang out? You want to hang out for another 15 and chit chat?
You can take off whenever you want. I mean, I don't know.
I'm clear. I'm clear through the hour, and I'd like to take the next 15 minutes to talk with you.
Great.
And like she said, it's there's a balance on that enterprise message, and also empowering local brands and personalities, and what they're targeting and what they want to accomplish, and it'll kind of depend on how engaged they want to be on that level with marketing efforts. Because I know your pain when you're trying to get pictures and things like that. You got to incentivize people. You got to stay on them, because like you said, it might not be benefiting the person who's actually doing it. So there's not a. But I definitely understand the struggle there.
In terms of sharing what you're working on, what I'm working on, I don't know, and I'm still have a big question mark about diversify. I thought that diversify just talk about everything. That's all, and let it be a place where all these other companies, from Kinney to, well, it's hard to think about Spectra because you have so many locations. But are they just locations, or are they is there a head for all those locations? You know what I'm saying? Or are they just do they each location take up different things?
Yeah, they do.
All
They're
areas?
they're all unique in their own ways. So it's it's very similar to what's going on with Diversify. It's just, it's structured a little differently,
Yeah, but
but
wait a minute.
essentially,
Yeah, but Spectra probably did the same thing that Diversify has been doing.
well, see, we didn't have this hurdle to overcome with a bunch of different brands. It was, it's, there wasn't, whenever Spectra would expand, they didn't consider it, newsworthy in the same way that Diversify does. So, it was done. There wasn't a story. There wasn't, it was just, it is what it was. And it became part of the business, right? So, it's never been an issue of like wrangling everybody in and trying to figure out there's always been, for the most part, a unified message. There's always been, for the most part, like the website, for example, there's always been one. And, so that was, that made it, it was a different process. But at the same time, I do have a strategy to, target locally and, try to, make that each location visible in its market.
What is that? What is
But
your strategy?
well, there's a couple of different things. One of the things for like the geo search, portion, it, Google Business Profiles is a pretty big one, and also having locations pages within the website. Um, you know, More or less for Google's sake, the plan is to build each one out and give each location its own identity with that page, so that if they don't want to put Spectra contract flooring on their business card, they could put a link directly to their web identity. And that's kind of my mindset. That's just the structure that Spectra have is where my mindset goes. Because I do a lot of the same things that you do as far as content and telling the stories, and I face the same struggles and challenges I know that you face with, there's always obstacles.
Right.
You know and with like the centralized content and systems that we have, um, it's made it a lot easier to flesh the strategy out past that. Because with what I'm doing and have done with Spectra is, we want to get people in with SEO, with content, with social media, with emails. Um, and then once they get there, we're profiling people, companies by the IP address and other public factors. So we're profiling, and then once we do get them to convert on a form, or whatever it may be, downloadable content, newsletter footer, any of them, they're enrolled uh, into the system, and we start putting together that profile on that individual. And eventually, Danielle mentioned that we're going to have like an inside sales, this for the sales enablement piece, bringing in inside sales. And she mentioned construct connects. I think that person's going to be working that, but they're also going to be working these leads that are being or these profiles that are coming through the website.
Well,
So that's,
what is
go
the
ahead.
the strategy in terms of what is it manifesting? Is it something in physical?
Yeah, no, the leads are definitely, a percentage of them are definitely turning into jobs and relationships. And one of the one of the pieces that I've always struggled with is kind of tracking it past the handoff from marketing to sales. Uh,
Mhm.
Spectre has had, an antiquated, or it's not antiquated, but it's a system that's not, it was built 20 years ago, and it wasn't, marketing wasn't, even a line item to consider. Um, so so now that we're Spectra and the enterprise as a whole is adopting Salesforce, that'll take it, into the next, phase of what it needs to be.
Right.
It's gonna close. It's gonna speak to that bottom part of the funnel, and it's gonna close the loop, so to speak, um, so that we can have full cycle of reporting from top to bottom. And so I think part of the reason Danielle has brought me over is just to kind of, what can we do to adopt that methodology? Obviously, y- some of it's already being done. So again, we're not trying to reinvent the wheel. We're just trying to figure out how to improve the processes,
Right.
make the most out of what we're doing. We want to make sure we're utilizing everybody's expertises where they are, and just getting everybody on the same page. Just like you were talking about earlier, and Danielle mentioned. We've got. I'm still kind of trying to get a grasp on who is considered a marketer, in Diversify. For the brands. Um, I'll bring up Kiefer again, for example, because I don't have relationships with the Diversify brands that I do with, our Spectra location. So I'm still kind of speculating and making contacts. But I know that Kiefer, I believe they have like a marketing person. I don't know what exactly
Yeah,
she
they do.
does.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I've heard good, Bill had, spoke highly of her. And that's pretty much all the information I have. So I definitely want to, just like with what we're doing right here, we're connecting, and we're gonna all figure this out together. But with her, it's like, what does she do? And this is a conversation I have to have with her. But what is she doing? How can we enable her? What does she need to? What does she struggle with that we should be, taking over on? What can we do to, get her doing more of? And I think that's just the same for all of us.
Well,
Just
she
trying to
is like
highlight our.
me. She is like me.
Is she an agency, or is she a contractor, or is she
I
like
don't
on
know.
staff?
It sounds like what she's doing,
Yeah. But do you have a relationship with her, or have you spoken to
No,
her? You just
all I
know
know is
third hand.
they're not interested in our services because they got it handled. That's all I know.
Oh, Kiefer.
Yeah.
Ah, gotcha. Yeah, again, like I think Danielle has a meeting with the leadership team with Kiefer, soon. So after that happens, hopefully I'll be able to get in there and open
I
up some
see.
conversation with them.
Sure. That would be
Um,
great. That would be great. I think,
yeah. And if they do want to, continue to do what they're doing, and it's successful, then, what I'd like to do is just come in and be like, well, you know, how can I help? How can we get this all aligned? We're not trying to, come in and take over what they're doing, because the people, everybody who's doing something successful, there's no reason to, tear that down, or,
yeah,
just empowering it and making it stronger.
right. Right.
So,
Yeah. Kenny evidently, uh, he rebuilt his site, but there's no evidence of social media. They have some from the past, you can see because of their logo, but Kenny is just there's nothing. Maybe it's just one guy running his office, it could be something like that. It's a very small company. I don't know.
do
But
you use so when you're doing social media, do you use any like programs do you just go straight into the accounts and
no,
post and
no,
stuff
no.
like that, or you
Right
use
now we use Mav.
Mav?
Yeah, MAV. Um,
'Cause-
it had the best ability to analytics are important to us.
Oh yeah.
That kind of feedback. So we were using other things that were really good, but they didn't have that option. We are looking at another company, and we'll change to it as soon as they develop this part of their business.
Uh, instead of Mav?
Yeah, but right now that's where we are. We
Has
can
that decision been made already? I mean, is it like pretty much,
about the
is,
next about using another company.
yeah.
No, we haven't. No decision.
Okay.
We're just looking
Well,
about
the
what.
reason I bring it up is because just, with the benefits of centralizing everything else, social is one of those things where a
Right,
website, it's a little bit easier for me to envision in a central place, and with multiple inputs,
right.
from you, from me, from whoever wants to be involved. But social media is a little different. But I use a software called HubSpot.
Oh
Um,
yeah, I know.
Social, there is a social component to that.
Yeah,
And we can look at a bunch of different solutions, but in an ideal world, we'd all be on the same platform, so that all the analytics could be viewed, you know, uh, uniquely, or they could be viewed. We can view them a multiple different ways, and it would make it easier for if we did have one or two, or because not every brand and location is going to want to do social. So we want to support that how we can. So if we have all of the brands, consolidated, then it would be easier for one or two or three or four people that own those to, really engage, because the way that I see social is that we are sharing the content. We're trying to drive people to the site. We're trying to engage, but that's one type of content, and then you want to have other type of content that's not necessarily about driving them to the site or getting them into a funnel. It's just to develop those relationships and strengthen our market presence and things like that. So there's a lot that goes into it.
Well, you're really talking out there, I look forward to that happening. It's
Well,
time to get there.
Danielle's an enabler. I've been used to marketing wasn't necessarily a high priority with Spectra. They let us,
Diversify either.
right. They give you your freedom, and you're in your lane, and they stay in their lane, and you do what you do what you do. And that's how it's kind of always been. And I think with Danielle stepping in, I think that marketing is high on her priority list, and she's the decision maker, for our marketing efforts. And she's getting, she's excited about it. And since I've started working with her, a couple of weeks, a week and a half, 2 weeks ago, it definitely shows that the priority is shifting, and she's the one driving that. So, I think we can, plan on seeing pretty swift movement, coming up soon.
Okay.
So it's exciting too. We know we're gonna be moving. Things have been stagnant, but they're gonna start moving.
Right. I look forward to that.
So I think next steps, I'm still trying to flesh out all my ideas. She's fleshing out her ideas, I think that's what she was alluding to when she was asking, for summaries or active projects, things that you'd like to see happen, your ideas, and then strengths and things like. So we're just all kind of just getting it out there.
Yeah, I mean, she's kind of talking in a different level than I think how marketing get really the brick and mortar and the tools that you need to use to build and get it out. She talks in another level that doesn't get down deep.
Yeah, well, and that's what we want to do, is get down deep. And I think that one thing that I want that's on my to-do list is look at the marketing technology stack that everybody's using. Just inventory everybody's programs and everybody's, if they have like solid workflows or funnels that we can use them, ours, just so we can all get aligned. And I think that's what it's primarily about at this point.
Yeah, we were using that kind of thing for my team, but then we realized we really didn't need it. So we're letting it go. But yeah, just to keep everybody knows what everybody's doing, and when somebody says, I need this, it all is in the same platform, same area. Maybe that's what you're talking about. I don't know.
Yeah. Like, I want to I've started a document where I'm starting to put my information down. Like, what programs I'm being specific. What programs am I using for social, email, web? Do you guys use WordPress for your websites? That's our CMS.
Yes.
And if others
you look
aren't
at it from
using
a mile away. That's what everybody.
Yeah. Well, there was another person within Diversify that had started inventorying websites and their CMSs, and not all of them are WordPress. I'd say more than half of them are, as they should be. But the ones that aren't, you can definitely tell that they're not.
We kept some websites of ours in HTML, and they never got hacked. Nothing happened to them. It's just we needed to upgrade. It was time.
Yeah.
But I mean,
and it's a lot user friendly too. I mean, that's WordPress is the most user friendly interface I've dealt with. So I think that's the standard.
Yeah, I agree.
But so yeah, once I get that going, I'll share that with you. And if you want to pop yours in, and so we can compare notes and see what's what, and I guess we'll just
Sounds good.
keep trucking.
Yeah,
And then
yeah.
I guess Danielle will probably schedule, you know, a next, or you or me, we can just, you know, we'll get
It'll
back
probably be
together.
together. There's no reason not to. We need
Yeah,
to
I don't think
work
so.
together,
Yeah, definitely.
you know? Anyway,
All right. Well,
yeah. I wonder if she knows anything about the budget. Because
I think
actually,
she's working on it.
yeah, because actually we're restrained from the budget, from what the budget is. Very restrained. So you tell me what we're doing, well, just the basics, because that's all there's money for.
Right. Yeah, no, that I get it. That's always been my, you know, the thing that held me back within Spectra was the budget,
Yeah,
and that's always
right,
been the most limiting factor. It's like,
right.
you know,
Yeah.
so, but you know, that's a piece that she's working on, you know, so that's in her wheelhouse at this point.
Mhm.
So, you know, it's something that we could always bring back up next
Yeah,
time.
we should. We probably should, because it is what's holding me back.
And you know what I've done, for an agency, for a agency that I work with, from Spectra, is they are gonna sit, because, you know, that's always a hot topic, and it's not always the easiest one to talk about. But they decided they're gonna submit kind of like, I want to say a proposal. It's not like a proposal to do new business, but as a proposal to, you know, here's a low, medium, and high tier. We want to talk about budget, so we want to present, you know, what we think and what those costs look like, and so you choose, you know, because the budget's going to be
Right,
what it is. But you know,
yeah,
with seeing those tiers of options, that's
yes,
an easier way to make decisions.
good point.
So, you know, maybe Danielle would like to see something like, I don't want to speak for her, but you know, when she was asking for the things that she was asking, that's kind of what came to my
Yeah,
mind.
she is, I understand she wants something and I have given her to her in different ways, but I guess I'm trying to figure out the best way to do it, and I don't know.
It might be in a proposal format, you know, just
Yeah,
because, you know, obviously things need to change, you know, so it's not a proposal to do, you know, new business, it's just a proposal to
right.
change
That's a
business.
good idea. That's a good idea.
Okay. Yeah, well, and I think, you know,
Oh, we're
I
over your
think,
time.
yeah, we're over my time. I got to get running,
Yeah,
but you know, we'll speak again
yeah,
soon.
I look forward to it. I'm glad
All right.
this happened.
Yeah, definitely. It definitely needed to. So I'm glad it happened as well. I'm glad she invited me in on the call too, so
Yeah,
we could talk.
okay, we'll figure out. We'll go deep. We'll figure it out.
Yep, we will.
Okay, take care now.
All right, great.
All right,
Great to talk to you.
you
See
too.
ya.